My name is Barry Davis, and I'm a divorce mediator. What that means is that I keep my clients out of court, I keep their children out of the middle, and I help them move on with their lives as quickly and as economically as possible. One of the issues that always comes up in divorce mediation, and it can sometimes be very difficult and or touchy to deal with, are future romantic interests or even current romantic interests aside from the parties I'm dealing with. So I think this is very important to deal with directly and explicitly in the divorce mediation process. I think there's some mediators that might shy away from this. I've found that that doesn't produce good results in my opinion. So I look at a couple of things that we need to address when it comes to dating, romantic interests, etc. First thing is, what's the agreement between the parties as they're starting this divorce process? Second thing, what's the agreement between the parents as related to any interaction between romantic interests and their children? So when it comes to the first one, I often throw out there what I call don't ask, don't tell, which means you don't ask the other person what's going on with them in romantic interests, and you don't tell them what's going on with you in romantic interests. We just make it a no-fly zone because you're moving on, you're starting the divorce process, and you're both free to do what you're going to do on your own time when you don't have the children. That leads us to number two, which is what about any sort of interaction between people you're dating, romantic interests, etc., and the children. This is an area that I'm much more direct in because I do have very strongly held professional beliefs based on my experience and based on the research that's out there. What I highly recommend is that parents agree that they will not introduce nor have romantic interests around their children for a specified period of time so that the children have a chance to get used to the new normal. The whole thing here is that new boyfriends and girlfriends are significant new variables and factors in the overall equation, and introducing new variables and factors when the children are already trying to figure out what's going on, where am I, what day of the week, what's happening with mom and dad, is just not a good idea. So again, each party can go off and date, do whatever they're going to do during this divorce process as long as the parties agree to that, but they don't introduce or have anybody around their children for, I would say, at least 6 months, and I think 12 months is more of the gold standard regarding not introducing or having romantic interest around the children. The reason I believe this is critical is that you want to minimize the number of new variables and new factors in the overall equation of the children's lives whenever they're going through divorce, because there's already so much change that's happening. So to introduce a new boyfriend or girlfriend to the situation, to confuse the kids as to who is this person, how am I supposed to react to them, is simply detrimental to the children and should be avoided at all costs, in my professional opinion, and I believe that also is backed up by the research. So I do encourage you to think about this. It can have a significant impact on your children, on yourself, and even on your future relationships. And I do recommend taking some time before you have new romantic interests around the children. If you have any questions or clarifications, please feel free to contact me at my website, davismediation.com, and thank you very much for listening.